Started my summer with a DNF. One of the most beautiful books I've read this year. I did love it, but it also ruined me. Kind of a curveball. Ellen, what are you trying to say? I think like 6 stars. You're not prepared, because I was not prepared, and oh my god, honestly could not stand it. Hello, sweet and beautiful besties. It is that time of the month. It is wrap up time. Without further ado, let's hop into my June and July reading wrap up. Okay, we started out the month on kind of a rough note. I DNF'd this book. This is 32 Days in May by Betty Corello, and honestly I saw this on my TikTok. It was like a new release. I think it came out in May, and I was super excited for it because it sounded super good. So our main girl, she goes to somewhere on the Jersey Shore and she is diagnosed with lupus, so this is heavy talk about like that illness and everything she goes through with that. And then for some reason her doctor introduced her to this like celebrity guy, and to me he just gave me the ick. I'm sorry to say it like that, but he just did, and I feel like their vibe wasn't really what I was looking for in this romance. Like, it was very fast-paced and kind of lusty. They both just kind of prioritized going out and drinking and partying in their relationship, which, I mean, in both of their situations, like, I can understand it, but it's just not really, like, what I really care to read about. And the writing style was kind of different in this, especially in, like, the first chapter. It was a little interesting. So, I ended up DNFing this at 68%. I just did not care. I really didn't care, and a lot of times with me, the reason I don't want to DNF books is because I'll like feel bad for the book, and I didn't really feel bad, and I have no real desire to figure out what happened and see how it ended. So that is the first book I started my summer with, a DNF. But then the next book I read was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I ended up giving this 4.25, and this book was just incredible. I think it really was going to be a 5-star, but the ending, it was way too fast-paced. Like, the ending just wrapped up way too quickly, and I really wanted to see kind of the aftermath of everything that went down, just because it ended so abruptly, I felt like, and I was like, I need to, like, make sure everything's going good. Like, I need to make sure we're good and see how this goes, especially with just how character driven this was. I needed more from the ending. This is maybe like one of the most beautiful books I've read this year, like quotes, romance wise, just it is out of this world. I mean, some of it's set in space, like it makes sense, but yeah, this was incredible. If you want deep soulmate connection romance book, read this. Honestly, when I went into this, I didn't know it was this romance heavy, and I'm like so not mad about it. I mean, it literally says a love story on it, but I just kind of really thought it was gonna be more centered around the astronaut program, but it wasn't, and I was so happy about that. So this follows our main girl Joan, and she has always kind of been obsessed with space, and she gets this opportunity to go to NASA and learn to be an astronaut, one of the first female astronauts. So it is set in the summer of 1980. So you're following her and her family and other characters she's at NASA with, and just it is the most beautiful story ever. And these characters feel so real. Like, it feels like I could just time travel back to the 80s at NASA and they'd be there, and like I wish I could. So I ended up giving this 4.25, but yeah, like I said, the ending, I really needed more. I was listening to the book and it said I was at 99%. I'm like, that's wrong, this is an error. And then I finished it and I was just like, that's it? Like, I had to go back and look. We really just went back-to-back bangers at the start of June, because next I read The Woman by Kristen Hanna. This was a 5-star. I mean, how could it not be? I think I really love historical fiction. I haven't read too much of it, but just dipping my toes in so far, I've loved it, and this book was no exception. This is about our main girl, Frankie, and she enlists to be a nurse in the Vietnam War, and seeing everything Frankie went through in this was just such a powerful story, and it really opened my eyes to everything going on at this time, and it did such a good job of showing the realistic sides of this war and just everything the nurses went through and saw. This and The Nightingale are the only two I've read by her, but in both of them the characters have felt so real, and like the decisions they've made have been so real. Like, even though I may not agree with everything they do or just whatever, she just portrays the time period so well, and the actual like thought processes and just how these people cope with everything, and it's just incredible. And I feel like this is how I wish history class was to me. History class was never something I was interested in, but reading her books, it just makes me interested in it more, and I feel like I learn so much from her books too about the time periods. This is perfection. I won't tell you too much more because I personally love going into her books blind. I just feel like they hit so much harder that way. I love this. Easy easy 5 stars. This has not left my brain since I finished it. And then the first Kindle book I read, also Peep My New Case from the besties at Burga. I felt like I had to get some more summer vibes in before the fall time. We're embracing that with this cutie little case. So I finished The Tenant by Frida McFadden, and I feel like I either really enjoy or don't enjoy Frida's books, and this one was on the not enjoy side. I did finish this in one day, so they're just always such good fast-paced pick-me-up books if that's what you're in the mood for, and this is what I was in the mood for. And I also needed like an audiobook, and I've really been liking audiobooks, thriller audiobooks recently, so picked up this one. This book was so beyond repetitive, I honestly could not stand it. It was still entertaining and fast-paced and bingeable, but it was so repetitive, just a drag, honestly. Like the first 70% we got the same thing over and over again, and I was just so over it. So 2.5 stars to this one. I mean, I'd recommend if you want something fast and short, but just not a thriller that stuck with me at all. Now it is time to talk about what I read next, and that would be the last 3 books that are out in the Boys of Tommen series. So I finished Redeeming 6, I gave it 4 stars. I finished Taming 7, I gave it 5 stars. And then I finished Releasing 10, and I think like 6 stars. Maybe just 5. I don't know, but like, oh god. Starting with Redeeming 6, this one I gave 4 stars because I felt this way about both of the 6 books, we'll call them, that they were just really repetitive and kind of just like back and forth, and I was just not really having it because I'm just like, figure it out guys, like this is kind of driving me crazy. But this one I did enjoy more than the first one because we did get to see a little bit past the Binding and Keeping 13 timelines, which I really liked. Maybe I should explain what this series is about. This series is basically about these like rugby player guys in this community town, school, or whatever, and there's a lot of trauma in this series. So if you want like a sad, emotional, traumatic series, here you go. But don't read it if you're not prepared, because I was not prepared, and oh my god. So yeah, 4 stars for Redeeming 6, and then Taming 7 I gave 5 because this was a completely different character's POV, and I love this character so much, and what they had to go through hurt me so much. What I really liked about this one is you see this person in the other books and they're portrayed one way, but then you get to their book and it's just like, how did I not know? This is crazy. This changes everything. Let's just say ow. And I really liked the romance in this one too, because it's kind of like childhood friends to lovers, and I love them together. And then I did read a book in between Taming 7 and Releasing 10, but we'll come back to that. This book has put me in like a month-long slump after finishing it. This is the heaviest and hardest book I have ever read. I don't know if I'd recommend, honestly. This book is extremely traumatic and triggering. Just literally every single trigger warning possible, basically. So just don't read this, like straight up, just don't. If you do want to traumatize yourself and fall deeper in love and care more about characters in this world, here you go. I love these characters so much. This book is just one that like, I don't know what to say other than ow. You know, read at your own risk, but also I did love it, but it also ruined me. And then, well, actually before Releasing 10, but whatever, I picked up Right Where You Left Me by Lana Vargas. This is like a small town summary lake house romance second chance book. I give this one 3 stars. It was just a quick fun time. It's under 300 pages, which is amazing, and I really liked it, but I feel like it was, I think, second chance, and she does have a boyfriend in it, so then it's like, and also I just didn't feel like super connected to the stories. But since it was like a 300-page book, it's not really, I don't know, it wasn't really about that when I read it. I just wanted a quick short read, and this is what it was. It delivered. It was such a good time. Yeah, I definitely recommend Lana Vargas. She is like a smaller indie author, and I started following her on TikTok. Definitely go check her out. I think this is gonna be a series, so I want to continue it and go back and read the rest of her books and support, because we love supporting small authors. And then I picked up The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. This is actually, I think, Abby's first book, and I have owned this book since 2022, and I just now read it. I gave it 4 stars. It was fine. Again, literally the exact same thing as Right Where You Left Me. She has a boyfriend, but yet there's another love interest, and it's just like, just like end it and then go about this. I just love Abby Jimenez's books so much because they're just always so plot heavy and then also romance heavy, and they're just funny, they're silly, there's always a dog. And this one is the start of the series, and I actually read read it very out of order, and I'm kind of having regrets about that because it would have been much more hard-hitting, but I really didn't know it was this connected of a series, and I just kind of picked up the Happily Ever After playlist, whatever. So that is okay though. I love this one. I really like these characters, especially the guy in this. He was such a good main character, and he's a firefighter, which I had no clue going into this, but for some reason I love reading about firefighters. And I also really liked the ending of this. It just made my heart so happy for this couple. It wrapped up so well. I definitely will be rereading the Happily Ever After playlist and then going into Life's Too Short because I regret it, and I feel like it definitely didn't hit as hard not reading this first. So if you have not read this series yet, definitely go in order, unlike me. I don't know if I told you guys this. I actually went to see Abby speak. Hello, my favorite author. She was talking about this series, and she was like, do not read the Happily Ever After playlist first. You have to go in order. And I was just sitting there like So yeah, that kind of motivated me also to read this and kind of just restart this series because I messed up. I really did, but still a great time. Good 4-star book. I really haven't thought about it too much since, but there's definitely been like scenes I've thought about and like moments in the ending of it I haven't thought about since. And then kind of a curveball, kind of random, maybe a theme here. The books I've owned the longest, maybe coming soon. Who literally knows? This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Spring series. I read Flawless in 2023. In 2023, I started Heartless, and it took me a year to finish because I just couldn't get into it. So that is my relationship with the Chestnut Spring series. Have not loved the first 2, but then earlier this year I was like, I want to read about a cowboy, bull rider. So then I jumped to Reckless and read like 20% of it, and I just kind of got out of that mood and put it down. But then I saw a TikTok of this book by Elsie Silver, and I'm like, you could have told me this a year ago, you know what I mean? Like, I would have read this then. So I picked up Powerless, and at the beginning I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star. I am loving it. I love just the ballerina, the hockey. I love a hockey romance. It's my favorite sport to read about. So I was eating it up. I love their dynamic and how they knew each other from childhood and whatever. But I feel like after the 50% mark, kind of just their priorities shifted, we'll say, and just things got very different between them. The dynamic changed, and after that I was just kind of like, okay, let's do something else here. You know what I mean? Let's get back to the emotional side of things. But this was still a great time. I definitely think I'm motivated to continue the series finally now, so hopefully I will be finishing this up soon. And I definitely want to get to her other books as well, because just this like small town country vibe has been what I've been in the mood for lately. So I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it, and it was fun. I really enjoyed too how they're both in a similar situation, and then they embark on this like road trip thing together, and it really benefits them both. And there was just a lot of character growth on both sides of these characters, which I love, and I can't wait to see them throughout the rest of the series. Definitely so far my favorite of the series. I can't decide what my least favorite is though, but all I know is this is my favorite. And then the most recent book I have finished is The Perfect Couple by Elin Hilderbrand. This was my first Elin Hilderbrand book, and I absolutely loved it and will be reading her books immediately. But okay, so I was at a garage sale and I saw The Perfect Affair, The Current Affair, something like that. And then I looked on Kindle at her other books, and I saw the only other one that's Kindle Unlimited, I don't remember what it's called. Why are all of her books like that vibe, like about affairs? I mean, this one is about like a murder mystery, but all the other ones I've read the back of are like, so and so is having an affair, blah 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 blah. I'm like, Ellen, what are you trying to say? You know, I love this book. I can't wait to watch the show now. This is about a Nantucket wedding, and the maid of honor is found dead. You're basically going through all of the police interviews about them interviewing the wedding party and trying to figure out what happened. And this was such a fun time because I love just like a mystery book like this where it's not like super scary or thrilling, but it's just like a whodunit, and I really had no clue. Like, I'm still kind of shocked, honestly. But I settled on a 4-star for this one. I don't know, it's like nothing really I'm gonna stick with. I did really feel connected to these characters, and I feel like Elin Hilderbrand's writing is just so good. Like, I cannot wait to read all of her books, especially the characters in this one. I just felt so close to, and they just felt so real, and like this actually happened, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just don't know why I just didn't really give that 5-star feeling, and I don't really have anything I can pinpoint as to what could have made it better. But it was such a great time, and I literally cannot wait to watch the show. But also, if they like do something different than what I pictured, or like, I don't know, something different happens, I'm gonna be so upset because it was great. It was great.
It is literally 5 p.m. on July 31st, so I barely made the cutoff, but we have finished another book this month. This was one I was kind of not expecting to read because I did not love the other 2 Carly Fortune books I read Every Summer After and her second newest one, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I've just heard so many good things about it, and it was a great time. Honestly, I feel like the setting was great, the lake vibes, and there was just a lot going on plot-wise too. And also, the third act breakup didn't really bug me in this one, and I did like our characters. There were some things like I wasn't super in love with, like kind of like the lustiness of it, but overall I thought this was a great book and a great way to kind of end the summer reading, because I feel like now I'm in fall mood. So, you know, this is kind of the end of my summer reading, I think, hence this wrap up, you know? So I settled on 4 stars for this. It's just a good, enjoyable time. Now, that's the end.
That is all of the books that I read so far in June and July. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little summer wrap up, and I'll see you guys next time.